Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Legends of Tomorrow episode 3 video. Great episode. So much WTF. There was so much blood. You'd think they were doing an episode of Torchwood. I realize some of you probably have no idea what Torchwood is. It was a really big Doctor Who spinoff starring John Barrowman as Captain Jack Harkness. He was immortal. People stole his blood for a long time to heal themselves. It was really freaky, but tonight's episode of Legends of Tomorrow was really more Eyes Wide Shut if you guys are Stanley Kubrick fans. Such a weird film, but so awesome. So just careful for spoilers from episode 3 if you haven't seen it yet. Let's start with top 5 WTF and then I'll explain some Easter eggs. There's some really big stuff coming too that I'll talk about at the end of the video. Number 5, I've seen Men of Steel fail and Dark Knight's fall. This is a line from the trailer. A lot of you are asking me, wait, does this mean that Batman and Superman exist? Well, we already know that Supergirl is now part of the Arrowverse. Superman has cameoed on that show. Arrow took a really big shot at Barbara Gordon last week, so that kind of means the Batman characters exist unofficially. So yeah, you could totally say that he's talking about Batman and Superman, but it's intended to be very tongue-in-cheek. The setup for the episode actually comes from Ra's al Ghul, strike at your enemy's heart. So Canary's like, let's go cut off his bank funds. Mr. Al Ghul sounds like quite the poet. Number 4 WTF, the Hawk Girl B story. She's still got shards of Vandal Savage's dagger left in her from episode 2. They've got to get it out, so it's Fantastic Voyage Adam. And the funny thing is that even though they're in the 70s in this episode again, they're in the same time period as they were in last week's episode. Fantastic Voyage is a 60s movie. But as much as it's about fixing Kendra, Adam has to fix his level of confidence. So Martin Stein just amazingly bullshits him into helping Kendra again. It all goes great. She finally wakes up. And we actually find out that she has like the weird type of psychic connection to Hawkman's body in the way that Firestorm is connected. Like one can sense when the other is in trouble. So even though Hawkman's dead, she still has this connection to his body. So if Vandal Savage were to try and do something with it, no matter where he is, she would probably sense it. Number 3 WTF, Captain Cold and Heatwave encourage Jax to help them steal the Maximilian Emerald. I know everybody wondered, ever since the trailer dropped, because this was in the trailer, wondered if this was kryptonite. No, it's just a giant emerald, just worth crazy money. Captain Cold wants to change his past, but him at his childhood home was actually probably my favorite moment, so I'll talk about that in a second. Number 2 WTF, Legends of Eyes Wide Shut. So if you've never seen Eyes Wide Shut, it was Stanley Kubrick's last big movie before he died. It was one of the weirder ones, but like most Stanley Kubrick films, it's really good. But it has all this weird imagery in it. So the minute they open the doors and you see this crazy secret society holding what looks like it's going to be this crazy orgy, all I could think about was Eyes Wide Shut. And then like a couple minutes later, when Heatwave busts in, he actually says Eyes Wide Shut. I didn't feel like he needed to do that, but I was like, oh my god, they actually meant to do that. One of my favorite things is spotting really big references like that. When they pay homage to really classic, really big things, they're actually doing a Magnificent 7 episode. I think it's called the Magnificent 8. It's actually the Jonah Hex episode. And even earlier in the episode, when they're in Rip Hunter's office, there's a bunch of Easter eggs in there. Some of those are from characters that we're going to see show up on the show. Like we're going to see a version of Sandman. We see this Jonah Hex poster. He's showing up. I'll talk more about the characters that are coming when we get closer to their episodes. Jonah Hex is just one of the first really big ones. So the literal interpretation here is that Vandal Savage can use Hawkman's blood to extend the lives of normal people by about 100 years, as he explains it. So that's why when Stabby Sarah is stabbing the shit out of this henchman, he doesn't die, even though she stabbed him like 20-30 times. You could also think of Vandal Savage as using the blood as a band-aid. Like, he's already immortal. He doesn't need the blood to be immortal. He absorbed Hawkman's life force in the last episode, but he can still take in extra power. I'm sure if he ate his body, that would work too, but they probably didn't want to get too graphic in the episode because this is airing on the CW. It's not like HBO. But really the biggest part of this scene, in addition to being super WTF, like what, are they going to have an orgy of blood after they're done with Hawkman's body? What would have happened if they hadn't have busted in? But the important thing is the way it bookends Rip Hunter's relationship with Vandal Savage. I love the way they added that layer of complexity. Like he already went back and tried to kill him, but couldn't finish the job just because he's not a killer. So Vandal Savage in the past ended up canonizing Rip Hunter as this mythical bad figure in his story. But Hawkgirl still has to be the one to kill Vandal Savage. She has the deepest connection to him, she and Carter. And if you're confused about the timeline, this seemed like some sort of circular loop where Vandal Savage kills Rip Hunter's family, so he goes back in time, tries to kill him, Vandal Savage learns about Rip Hunter and then in the future knows to kill his family. So you're like, what happened during the first sequence of events? Did Vandal Savage originally kill his family in a different way? Did he change the past by making something different? It really just kind of syncs up with the idea of Captain Cold trying to change his timeline and being unsuccessful. They explain it on The Flash really well during season 1. If you try to change the timeline to avoid some really bad event, time itself will find a way to replace that event with something just as bad, if not worse. Speaking of which, on to my number 1 WTF. Best moment in the episode, Captain Cold talking to his childhood self. You can just see Wentworth Miller here, crying the whole time without tears coming down his face. Like the minute he walks into his childhood home, he tries to touch the bottle, but he pulls his hand back. He looks at the teddy bear, and suddenly you can see his heart breaking inside his chest. So he sees his younger self, gives him the speech, and even though he was unsuccessful with his father trying to change his future, I do think his speech to his childhood self had an effect. Never let anyone hurt you up here. Never let anyone hurt you in here. If he wasn't already, Captain Cold should be your favorite character on this show after this episode. If he isn't, I don't know what's wrong. Now, Sarah had great moments of pathos too, like she's experiencing bloodlust. I know there was some confusion about that. People were like, wait, didn't Constantine cure her of that when he rebound her soul to her body? No, apparently she still has bloodlust just like Thea. I'm actually really happy about that because each of the characters needs to have their own internal problems that they're dealing with along with these external problems. It just makes it that much more interesting. So let me know in the comments, what was your favorite moment from the episode? Did you actually start crying during this scene? It's okay, no judging here. And here's the really awesome stuff that you guys need to freak out about. What do King Shark, Vixen, and a one-armed Oliver Queen all have in common? They are all going to be dropping the same week. In a couple weeks, starting on February 23rd, The Flash is doing its King Shark episode, Arrow is doing its Vixen episode the next night, and then the night after that, Legends of Tomorrow is doing its Old Oliver Queen episode. The title of that's actually Star City 2046. They're going to be going to a future where Oliver has one arm, he's really old, we're going to meet Connor Hawke, it is going to be freaking awesome. Giveaway time though, congratulations to Nico713, you win this week's reverse flash ring. Please private message me on the back end of my channel for details. There will be a new round of the giveaway next week, and because it's the Super Bowl this weekend, I'll be doing some DC movie videos, so Suicide Squad, Batman v Superman related stuff. There'll be a whole bunch of Marvel stuff too, Captain America Civil War trailer. Sunday I'm going to be posting a crap ton of trailer videos. It's going to be so awesome. As you guys probably know, Flash and Supergirl are going to have a crossover episode. I just posted a big video about that. You can click here to learn all about what's going on with that, and you can click here for my Arrow and Flash videos from this week. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.